Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the cast and crew, we would like to bid you a warm welcome to the Caltech Theater production of the timeless You Can't Take It With You by Kaufman and Hart. This play debuted on the Broadway stage in 1936 and was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for Drama a year later. And even though 80 some odd years have passed since it first was debuted on stage, we hope you will find its comedy and its themes equally as entertaining and as current, set today, as they were 80 years ago. The play was so lauded that it was adapted by famed director Frank Capra for the big screen in 1938 and went on to win the Academy Award for both Best Picture and Best Director. The film starred Jimmy Stewart, Joan Arthur, and Lionel Barrymore, and would help cement Jimmy Stewart's position as one of the Hollywood elite. In fact, most of the cast and crew were charmed to learn only last week that Frank Capra is in fact a Caltech alumnus. How appropriate to set this play in the gardens of the Alumni House. If that isn't a lucky charm for this production, I don't know what is. In fact, Frank Capra himself is immortalized in bronze on a plaque in the entryway not 30 feet from where I'm standing. Please, as always, remember to silence or turn off your cell phones. Should the magic of this play animate the trees into man-eating creatures, or if the fireworks get a bit out of control, you can find the exits back the way you came, where Boy is pointing in the back by the garage, or up, if you prefer, through the stage and down the ramp to my left. Please enjoy our production of You Can't Take It With You. Good night.
Kitchen's hot.
What, Essie?
I say the kitchen's awful hot. That new candy I'm making, it just won't ever get cool.
Do you have to make candy today, Essie? It's such a hot day.
Well, I got all those new orders this morning. Ed went out and got a bunch of new orders.
I suppose if this keeps on, you'll be opening up a store.
That's what Ed was saying last night. But I said no, I want to be a dancer.
The trouble with dancing is that it takes so long. You've been studying such a long time.
Only 8 years. After all, Mother, you've been writing plays for 8 years. We started about the same time, didn't we?
Oh, yes, but you mustn't count my first 2 years. Because I was learning how to type.
I think the candy's heating up now, Miss Essie. Oh, thanks, Reba. I'll bring some in. Mother, I want you to try it.
Finish the second act, Mrs. Sycamore?
Huh? What?
I said, did you finish the second act?
No, Reba. I've just got Cynthia entering the monastery.
She was at the Kit Kat, wasn't she?
She gets tired of the Kit Kat Club. And there's this monastery, so she goes in there.
Do they let her in?
Yes, I made it Visitor's Day, so anybody can come.
Oh.
So, she goes to the monastery and just stays.
You mean she stays all night?
Yes, she stays for 6 years.
6 years? My, I bet she busts that monastery wide open.
6 years later.
Mr. DePenna! Yeah? Mr. DePenna, can you bring up one of those new skyrockets, please? I want to show one of them to Mrs. Sycamore. Sure. Hey, Penny, look at these new fireworks we just made. We can sell them 10 strings for $0.01. Listen. Nice, huh?
Yes. Oh, Paul, dear, were you ever in a monastery?
No, I wasn't. Wait till you see these new skyrockets. We've got gold stars, and then green stars, and then bombs, and a balloon. Mr. DePenna thought of the balloon.
Sounds lovely. Did you do all that today?
Oh, sure, we made up oh, here we are. Take a look at this. Cost us 18 cents to make, and we can sell it for 50. How many do you think we can make up before we go take them up to Mount Vernon?
We got 2 weeks yet. What day are you going to take the stuff up to Mount Vernon?
Probably about a week.
Do you think we'll need a large booth this year, Mr. Sycamore?
Oh, yes, I think we will need a larger booth. We've still got a lot of stuff to make up.
Yeah, and Mr. Sycamore, I'm afraid the powder chamber is just a bit too close to the balloon, see?
But we got the stars and the bombs in between.
Yeah, but that don't give the balloon time enough. A balloon needs plenty of time.
Come on. Let's go down to the cellar and try it.
All right?
Oh, Mr. DePinna.
Yes?
If a girl you loved entered a monastery, what would you do?
Oh, I don't know, Mr. Sycamore. It's been so long.
Is Miss Alice going to be home to dinner tonight, Mrs. Sycamore?
What? Oh, I don't know, Reba. Maybe.
Well, I'll set a place for her, but she's only been home one night this week.
Yes, I know.
Miss Essie's making some mighty good candy today. She's doing something new with coconuts.
Uh-huh. That's nice.
Let's see, 6 and Mr. DePinna. If Mr. Kalenkov comes, that makes 8, doesn't it? Yes, I'd better set for 8.
Reba, I think I'll put this play away for a while and go back to the war play.
Oh, I always liked that one. The war play. Boom, boom.
They'll be better when they're harder, Mother, but try one. I want to know what you think.
Oh, they look lovely. What do you call them?
I think I'll call them Love Dreams.
That's nice. Oh, I'm going back to the war play, Essie. What do you think?
Oh, are you, Mother?
Yes, I sort of got myself into a monastery and I can't get out.
Oh, well, it'll come to you, Mother. Remember how you got out of that brothel? The snakes look hungry. Has anyone fed them?
I don't know. Reba, did you feed the snakes yet?
No, Donald's coming in. She always brings flies with her.
Oh, be sure to feed them before Grandpa gets home. You know how fussy he is about them.
I wonder how many folks Grandpa will bring home to dinner tonight.
Oh, I don't know. It all depends on if he goes walking in the park.
Well, let him bring them. I'll be ready for them.
I believe I'll have another love dream.
Mr. DePinna was right about the balloon. It was too close to the powder.
Have a love dream, Father? They're on the table.
No thanks. I gotta wash.
I'm going back to the war play, Paul.
Oh, that's nice. You know, I think if we put some red stars after the bombs and then the balloon, yeah, that ought to do it.
You know, Mr. Kalenkov says I'm his most promising pupil.
You'd think with 40 monks and one girl that something would happen.
Essie! Hey, Essie!
I like that, Ed. Did you write it?
No, Beethoven.
Lovely. Got a lot of you in it. I made those new candies this afternoon, Ed.
Yeah?
You can take them around tonight.
All right, here's the big finish. This is me. How's that?
Fine, Ed. Remember it when Kalenkov comes, will you?
Ed, dear, why don't you and Essie have a baby? I was just thinking about it the other day.
I don't know. We could have one if you wanted us to. How about it, Essie? Do you want to have a baby?
Oh, I don't care. I'm willing if Grandpa is.
Let's ask him.
Labor play, religious play, sex play. I know it's here someplace.
I was right about the balloon. It was too close to the powder.
Say, Mr. DePinna, anything you want printed? How about some more calling cards?
No, thank you. I've still got the first 1,000 you gave me.
Well, call on somebody, will ya?
All right.
Say, Reba, what do we got for dinner tonight? I'm ready to print the menu.
Let's see. Cornflakes, watermelon, some of these candies Miss Essie made, and some kind of meat. I forget.
I think I'll print it out in bold-faced Cheltenham tonight. You know, if I'm going to bringing some of those new candies around, I had better print up some descriptive matter after dinner.
Ed, do you think anybody reads those things that you put on in the candy boxes? Oh, here's the war play. Poison gas. That must be Donald. Look at Reba smile.
The girlfriend, eh, Reba?
They're awfully cute, Donald and Reba. Hello, Reba.
Donald.
Evening, everybody.
Hiya, Donald. How you been?
I'm pretty good, Mr. Ed. How have you been, Mrs. Sycamore? Oh, very well, thank you. Oh, Donald. Yes, ma'am? Were you ever in a monastery? No, I don't go anyplace much. I'm on leave. Yes, of course. Here's the flies, Reba. Caught a big nest of them today.
You sure did.
I see you've been working, Mrs. Sycamore. Oh, yes indeed, Donald. How's Grandpa? Oh, he's just fine. He's over at Columbia this afternoon. Commencement.
My, the years certainly do roll round.
What's he go there for all the time anyway?
Oh, I don't know. It's just so handy. Right around the corner.
Oh, Donald! Mr. Pitt and I are going up to Mount Vernon next week. Do you think you'd give us a hand?
Yes, sir. Only I can't take any money for it this year. Because if the government finds out I'm working, we'll get sore.
Oh. Oh, Ed, I had a wonderful idea in the bathroom just now. I was reading Trotsky. It's yours, isn't it?
Yeah, I left it there.
Who is it?
Trotsky, you know, the Russian Revolution?
Oh.
Anyhow, I had this wonderful fireworks idea. Do you remember the last days of Pompeii?
Oh, yes. Palisades Park. That's where we met.
Yeah, well, I was gonna do the Russian Revolution, a full-hour display.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Then the red fire is a flag, huh?
Sure, and the Tsar and the Cossacks too.
And the freeing of the slaves.
No, Donald, the Russian Revolution.
Well, sir, you should have been there. That's all I can tell you. You should have been there.
Was it a nice commencement, Grandpa?
Wonderful. They get better every year. You don't know how lucky you are. You're snakes.
Big classes here, huh, Grandpa? How many were there?
Oh, must have been 2 acres. Yes, sir. Everybody graduated. Much funnier speeches than they had last year, too.
Donald, will you tell Reba that Grandpa's home and we won't wait for Miss Alice?
Yes.
I think she should stop working at that thrift shop. They make her stay so late.
Penny, she hasn't been there for 5 months.
She hasn't.
No.
Isn't that a shame? She was going to get me a hat I liked.
Now, she works for bankers now.
Bankers? That is wonderful. Essie's dance teacher wants to borrow $100 on his car. Do you think she can fix it?
Oh, sure. Kirby and Company just loaned somebody $80 million.
Must speak to Alice about it.
Grandpa, we made a new skyrocket today.
Evening, Grandpa.
Evening, Mr. DePina.
Didn't we make a fine skyrocket today, Mr.
We
DePina?
certainly did. We certainly did.
Hey, Grandpa, why don't they have fireworks at commencements?
Well, they don't make enough noise. Now, you take a good commencement orator, he'll drown out a whole carload of fireworks and say just as much, too.
Don't the graduates ever say anything?
Nah, they just sit there in their cap and nightgown, get their diplomas, then, long about 40 years from now, they suddenly say, "Where am I?"
Hello, Grandpa. Have a nice day.
Hello, have a nice day. Don't I even get kissed?
Excuse me, Grandpa.
I'll take a tomato, too. You know, I could have used a couple of these this afternoon.
Father?
No, thank you.
Mother?
No thanks, dear.
Hey, play something, Ed.
There was a letter came for you, Grandpa. Did you get it?
Letter for me? I don't know anybody.
It was for you, though. Had your name on it.
Oh, that's funny. Where is it?
I don't know. Where's Grandpa's letter, Mother?
What?
Where's the letter that came for Grandpa last week?
I don't know.
Oh, who is it from? Did you notice?
Yes. It was on the outside.
Well, who was it?
United States Government.
Huh. Wonder what they wanted.
There was one before that, too, from the same people. There was a couple of them.
Well, if any more come, I wish you'd give them to me.
Yes, Grandpa.
God is the state. The state is God.
What's that?
God is the state is God.
Who says that?
Trotsky.
Oh, that's all right. I thought you said it.
You know, that's nice for the print. Good and short.
Say, Penny, why don't you write a play about ism mania?
Ism mania?
Sure, you know, communism, fascism, voodoo-ism. Everybody's got an ism these days.
I thought it was an itch or something.
Oh, it's just as catching. Nowadays, things go a little south. You run out and get yourself an ism and you're in business.
I got it. It might help Cynthia to have an ism in the monastery.
It might at that. Only, give her Americanism. Let her know something about Americans. Betsy Ross, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Sojourner Truth, Thomas Edison, Amelia Earhart. Well, when things got a little rough for those folks, they didn't run around looking for isms. No, Lincoln said, with malice toward none, with charity for all. These days, they say, think the way I do or I'll bomb the daylights out of you.
And so, the beautiful princess came into the palace and kissed her mother.
Hello, darling.
Hi, Grandpa. And what do you think? They turned into the Sycamore family. Surprise!
Oh, Alice, I like it.
Do you?
It's new, isn't it?
Looks nice and summery.
Where'd you get it?
I took a walk during lunch hour.
You've been taking a lot of walks lately. That's the second new dress this week.
I just like to brighten up the office once in a while. Well, what's new around here in the ways of plays, snakes, ballet, dancing, and fireworks? Dad, I bet you've been down in that cellar all day.
Huh?
I'm going back to the war play, Essie. Really, Alice?
Really, Mother?
And play Alice that Beethoven thing you wrote.
Do you know you can mail a letter all the way from Nicaragua for just 2 pesetos?
Really?
Kenneth, my virginity is a priceless thing to me.
Listen, people, listen. I'm not home to dinner. A young gentleman is calling for me.
Really? Who is it?
I did everything possible to keep him from coming here, but he's calling for me.
Why don't you both stay to dinner?
No, I want him to take you in easy doses. I've tried to prepare him a little, but don't make it any worse than you can help. Don't read him any plays, Mother, and don't let a snake bite him, Grandpa. I like him. And I wouldn't dance for him, Essie, because we're going to see the Monte Carlo Ballet tonight.
Can't do anything. So who's he? President of the United States?
No, he's Vice President of Kirby and Company, Mr. Anthony Kirby Jr.
The boss's son?
The boss's son, just like the movie.
That explains the new dresses.
And not being home for dinner for 3 weeks.
Why, Sherlock Holmes.
Are you going to marry him?
Yes, of course, tonight. Meanwhile, I have to go and put on my wedding dress.
Now, come over here and sit down. Let's get down to cases. In love, huh?
Well,
My foot. Either you are or you aren't. Let me look at your eyes. Yes, of course. Oh, come on now, tell me all about it. What kind of a boy is he? Well, do you have fun together? Is he nice? You can't even talk about him, can you?
not rationally.
Now, who's asking you to be rational? Listen, when I was courting your grandmother, it took me 2 years to propose. Do you know why? The moment you would walk into a room, my knees buckled. The blood would rush up into my head and the walls would start to dance. Twice, I keeled over in a dead faint.
Grandpa.
Yeah. She finally dragged it out of me when I was in bed with 104 fever and in a state of hysteria. When she accepted, the fever returned to normal and I hopped out of bed. Why, the case was written up in the medical journals as the phenomena of the times. Only there was nothing phenomenal about it. I just had it bad, that's all. Never got over it either. Right up to the very last, she couldn't walk into a room without my heart going thump thump.
Oh, you darling. I wish I had known her. What was she like?
Well, look around you. This was her room, too. You ever notice the peculiar fragrance in here?
Yes, but I never knew what it was.
It's hers. Never left this place. She hasn't either. I can still hear the tinkle of her thin little voice and still see her eyes laughing. Well, it's the reason I've lived in this house for so long and could never move out of it. It would be like moving out on Grandma.
Oh dear, what time is it?
Oh, I don't know. Anybody know what time it is?
Mr. DePinna might know.
It was about 5 o'clock a couple of hours ago.
Oh, I ought to know better than to ask you people. Will you let me know the minute he comes in, please?
Of course, Alice.
Yes, I know, but I mean the minute he comes.
Why, of course.
Well, be sure.
Ooh, what do you think of that?
She seems to like him, if you ask me.
I should say so. She's got it bad.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if she married him?
We could have the wedding right in this room.
Now, Penny, this is the first time the boys called for the girl.
You only called for me once.
Young people are different nowadays.
Oh, I don't know. Look at Ed and me. He came to dinner once and just stayed.
Anyhow, I think it's wonderful, don't you, Grandpa?
Well, she certainly seems happy about it.
He must be crazy about her. Oh, that must be him. Remember what Alice said?
You know, that's the first time that doorbell has rung since Halloween.
Oh, welcome to our little home.
How do you do?
I'm Alice's mother. Come right in. Now, this is Alice's grandfather, and this is Alice's father, and Alice's sister, and her husband, Ed Carmichael, and Donald, and Reba. So, well now, give me your hat and make yourself right at home.
I'm afraid you must be making a mistake.
How's that?
My card.
Wilbur C. Henderson, Internal Revenue Service?
That's right.
What can we do for you?
Does a Mr. Martin Vanderhoff live here?
Yes, sir, that's me.
Well, Mr. Vanderhoff, the government would like to talk to you about a little matter of income tax.
Income tax?
Do you mind if I sit down?
No, just go right ahead.
Thank you.
Mother, is that Mr. Kirby?
No, dear, it isn't. It's an internal something or other.
Mr. Sycamore! Oh, Mr. Sycamore!
What is it? What is it? What is it? What is
These
it?
things are not going out!
Wait, not here, Mr. DePenna. Grandpa's busy. Pardon us.
Now, Mr. Vanderhoff, we've written you several letters about this, but have not had any reply.
Oh, that's what those letters were.
I told you they were from the government.
According to our records, Mr. Vanderhoff, you have never paid an income tax.
That's right.
Why not?
I don't believe in it.
Well, you own property, don't you?
Yes, sir.
And you receive a yearly income from it
I do.
of between $20,000 and $30,000,
About that.
and you've been receiving it for years.
I have. Since 1991, if you want the exact date.
Well, the government is only concerned from 1994 on. That's when the property tax code changed.
Well,
Well, it seems, Mr. Vanderhoff, that you owe the government 24 years of back income tax.
Wait a minute! You can't go back that far. That's outlawed.
What's your name?
What difference does that make?
Ever file an income tax return?
No, sir.
Aha! What was your income last year?
$28.50. Wasn't it, Essie?
Yes, sir.
If you please. Now, Mr. Vanderhoff, you know there's quite a penalty for not filing an income tax return.
Penalty?
listen, Mr. Henderson, let me ask you something.
Well,
Suppose I were to pay you this money. Now, I don't say I'm going to pay it, but just for the sake of argument, what's the government going to do with it?
what do you mean?
Well, if I go into Macy's and I buy something, there it is. I see it. What's the government give me?
Why? The government gives you everything. It protects you.
What from?
Well, invasion. Foreigners that may come over here and take everything you've got.
I don't think they're going to do that.
If you didn't pay an income tax, they would. How do you think the government keeps up the army and the navy and all those battleships?
Last time we used battleships was World War II. Now, I wouldn't mind paying if it were something sensible.
Sensible? Well, what about Congress and the Supreme Court and the President? We've got to pay them, don't we?
Well, not with my money, no, sir.
Now, wait a minute. I'm not here to argue with you. All I know is that you haven't paid an income tax and you've got to pay it.
Well, they've got to show me.
We don't have to show you. I just told you. All those buildings down in Washington and interstate commerce and the Constitution.
The Constitution was paid for long ago. And interstate commerce, what is interstate commerce anyhow?
There are 50 states, see? And if they weren't for interstate commerce, nothing could go from one state to another. See?
Well, why not? They got fences.
No, they haven't got fences. They've got laws. My God! I never came across anything like this before.
Well, I might pay about $75, but that's all it's worth.
You'll pay every cent of it, like everybody else.
Listen to this a minute, Essie.
And let me tell you something else. You'll go to jail if you don't pay. Do you hear that? That's the law. And if you think you're bigger than the law, you've got another thing coming. You're no better than anybody else, and the sooner you get that through your head, the better. You'll hear from the United States government. That's all I can say.
Look out for those snakes.
Oh, Jesus! Oh.
How's that, Essie?
Fine, Ed.
How did that sound to you folks?
Oh, I liked it.
Wait, he was mad, wasn't he?
Oh, it isn't his fault. The whole thing's just so silly, that's all.
Oh, he forgot his hat.
Say, what size is that hat?
7 and an 8.
Ah, that's just right for me.
Who was that fellow anyway?
This must be Mr. Kirby.
You better make sure this time.
Yes, I will.
I hope he's good looking.
How do you do?
Good evening.
Is this Mr. Anthony Kirby Jr.?
Yes.
Are you sure? Well, Mr. Kirby, come right in. We've been expecting you. Yes, come right in. Now, I'm Alice's mother. This is Grandpa. And this is Mr. Sycamore. And this is Alice's sister, Essie. Oh, and Essie's husband, Ed. And Donald and Reba. Well, now you know all of us. Give me your hat and make yourself right at home.
Thank you.
That Mr. Kirby, Mother?
Yes, dear, it is. He's lovely.
I'll be right down.
Oh, do have a seat, Mr. Kirby.
Thank you. I hope I'm not keeping you all from dinner.
Oh, not at all. Have a tomato.
No, thank you.
How about a piece of candy?
No, thanks.
Oh, I forgot to introduce Mr. DePinna. This is Mr. DePinna.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Wasn't I reading about your father the other day? Didn't he get indicted or something?
Well, hardly that. He just testified before the Securities Commission.
Yes, I'm sure there was nothing crooked about it, Mr. DePinna. In fact, Alice has often told us what a lovely man your father is.
Well, I know Dad couldn't get along without Alice. She knows more about the business than any of us.
You're awfully young, aren't you, Mr. Kirby? To be vice president of a big place like that?
Well, you know what that means, Vice President. All I have is a desk with my name on it.
Oh, is that all? Don't you get any salary?
Well, a little. More than I'm worth, I'm afraid.
Now you're just being modest.
Thank you.
Sounds kind of dull to me. Wall Street. Do you like it?
Well, the hours are short. I haven't been there very long.
Just out of college, eh?
Well, I knocked around for a while first, just sort of had fun.
Oh, what did you do? Travel?
For a while. Then I went to Cambridge for a year.
England?
Yeah, that's right.
Say, what's an English commencement like? Did you see any?
Oh, it's very impressive.
Are they?
Anyhow, now the fun's over and I'm facing the world.
Well, you've certainly got a good start. Vice president and a rich father.
Well, that's hardly my fault.
So now I suppose you want to settle down and get married?
Now, Penny, I'm sure Mr. Kirby knows his own mind.
I wasn't making up his mind for him, was I, Mr. Kirby?
Not at all, Mrs. Sycamore.
You mustn't rush him, Mother.
All I'm saying is that he's bound to get married, and suppose the wrong girl gets him.
Well, here I am, a vision in blue. I see you've had time to get acquainted.
Oh, yes, indeed. We've just been having a delightful talk about love and marriage.
Oh dear, I'm sorry I came down as fast as I could.
I didn't mind in the least.
Damn those flies in the kitchen. Oh, Miss Alice, you look beautiful. Where are you going?
I'm going out, Reba.
Stepping, huh?
That must be Kolenkov.
I think we better go, Tony.
All right.
Good evening, everybody!
Good evening, Mr. Kolenkov.
Grandpa, what do you think? I have letter from Russia. Second 5-year plan is failure.
I practiced today, Mr. Kolenkov.
Oh, my Pavlova.
Well, if you'll excuse us, Mr. Kolenkov.
Oh, my little Alice. Never have I seen you look so magnificent.
Thank you, Mr. Kolenkov. Tony, this is Mr. Kolenkov, Essie's dancing teacher, Mr. Kirby.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Well, if you'll pardon us, Mr. Kolinkoff, we're going to see the Monte Carlo Ballet.
Oh, the Monte Carlo Ballet! It stinks!
Yes. Well, good night, everybody. Good night.
Goodbye. Very nice to have met you all.
The Monte Carlo Ballet!
Isn't Mr. Kirby lovely? Come on, everyone! Dinner!
I thought he was a pretty nice fellow, didn't you?
And so good looking.
He had such nice manners. Did you notice, Paul? Did you notice his manners?
Certainly did. We're getting pretty personal.
Oh, now, Paul. Anyhow, I think he's a very nice young man.
He looks like a cousin of mine.
Botched! Diabolov! Then you had the ballet!
I think if they get married here, I'll put the altar right where the snakes are. You wouldn't mind, would you, Grandpa?
Oh, not if the snakes don't.
Oh no, they'll want to be married in a church. His family and everything.
I like a church wedding.
Of course!
Quiet. Quiet, everybody. Well, sir, we want to say thank you for all you've done for us so far. Things seem to be going along pretty good. Certainly much obliged. We, remember, all that we ask is just to go along and be happy in our own sort of way. Of course, we want to keep our health. As far as anything else is concerned, we'll leave it to you. Thank you. So, that second 5-year plan is a failure, eh, Kolinkoff?
Catastrophic! Wait until they try third 5-year plan, huh?
What's for dinner? I'm hungry. Oh, it looks like slab.
Think of that. Isn't it exciting?
I'll play the wedding march on the xylophone.
So you really think the Monte Carlo Ballet's
them dance every night of the week. I think they're marvelous.
They are, aren't they? Of course, just walking into any theater gives me a thrill.
Tony, it's been so lovely. I hate to have it over.
Oh. Is it over? Do I have to go right away?
Not if you don't want to.
I don't. Do you know something?
What?
I wouldn't trade one moment of this evening for all the rice in China.
Really?
Cross my heart.
Is there much rice in China?
Terrific. When do you get your vacation?
Last 2 weeks of August.
I think I might take mine then, too.
Really?
What do you think you're going to do?
I don't know. I hadn't thought much about it.
Going away, do you think?
I might not. I like the city in the summertime.
I do, too.
But you always go up to Maine, don't you?
That's right. Well, I'm sure I would like the city in the summertime. You know what I mean, Alice. I'd love it if you were here.
It would be nice if you were here, Tony.
You do realize what you're saying, don't you?
What?
That you'd rather spend your summer with me than with anybody else.
Was I?
Well, that's true about the summer. How would you feel about the winter?
Yes, I'd like that too.
Well, then there's spring and autumn. If you could see your way clear of those, Miss Sycamore.
I might.
Well, that's the whole year. We haven't forgotten anything, have we?
No.
You know, every once in a while I get a very strange sensation. I seem to hear a ringing in my ears.
Me too! I thought for a moment it was the telephone.
Yeah. And I hear voices, too. Voices that say, if you don't kiss her soon, you're a child.
Is that you, Alice? What time is it? Oh! Excuse me, Mr. Kirby. I had no idea. That is, I didn't mean to interrupt anything.
Not at all, Mrs. Sycamore.
No, Mother.
I just came down for a manuscript. Then you can go right ahead. Oh, here it is. Sex takes a holiday. Well, good night, Mr. Kirby.
Good night, Mrs. Sycamore.
Oh, I think you can call me Petty. Don't you, Alice? At least I hope so.
What the hell was that?
All right, Tony, that's father.
Oh, this time of night.
Any time of night, any time of day.
You know, sometimes you're so beautiful, it just gags me. Maybe you're not real. Maybe you're a phantom. I keep expecting you to vanish. Now wait a minute. Don't say anything. Look, phantom. Last night, I informed my mother that I was going to marry you.
I don't remember you telling it to me.
Well, you didn't ask me.
That's right, I didn't.
No, but she did. I talked about you so much that she finally said, next thing I expect to hear is that you'll marry the girl, and I said, yeah. That's it exactly.
What did she say?
Nothing.
Just fainted dead away?
No, she took it standing up. You know, if you scratch under the surface here, you'll find a proposal lying around. I admit it's kind of left-handed. I can't help that. I'm sort of a left-handed guy, you know. I never wanted anything I couldn't get if I just yelled loud enough. Worked like a charm when I was a baby, and since then I've had so much practice that I'm terrific. Here, I'll give you an idea. Where?
Tony!
What? Darling, just because your mother... All mothers are like that, Alice! And Penny is a darling. You see, I'm even calling her Penny.
No, I don't mean that. Look, Tony, this is something I should have said to you a long time ago, but I didn't have the courage. I let myself be swept away because I loved you so. No, wait, Tony. I want to make it clear to you. Listen, you're of a different world. A whole different kind of people. Now, I don't mean money or socially, that's too silly, but your family and mine, it just wouldn't work, Tony. It just wouldn't work.
All right, have it your way. She can't dance. That's why they pay her all that money, because she can't dance.
Well, I don't call that dancing what she does. Oh, hello. How was the ballet?
It was fine, Essie.
Wonderful.
Hello there.
Hello.
Look, what do you people think? Ed and I just saw Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Do you think she can dance, Mr. Kirby?
Why, yes, I always thought so.
What does she do, anyhow? Now look, Mr. Kirby, you're Fred Astaire and I'm Ginger Rogers.
Essie, please.
I only want to use him for a minute. Now look, Mr. Kirby.
Essie, you're just as good as Ginger Rogers, we all agree.
You see, Ed?
Yeah, say, Essie, we're butting in here, don't you think?
Oh, they've been together all evening. Good night, Mr. Kirby. Good night, Alice.
Good night, Mrs. Carmichael.
Good night. Say, Essie, did you ask Grandpa about us having a baby?
Oh, yes. He said to go right ahead.
You see, that's what it would be like.
Oh, I didn't mind that. Anyhow, we wouldn't be living with your family. It's just you and I.
It's not. It's never quite that, Tony. I love them, Tony. I love them deeply. Some people could break away, but I couldn't. I know they do rather strange things sometimes, but they're gay and they're fun and I don't know, there's a kind of nobility about them.
Alice, you talk as though only you could understand them. Well, that's not the case. Every family has curious little traits. So what of it? My My father raises orchids at $10,000 a bulb. Is that sensible? My mother believes in spiritualism. Well, that's just as odd as your mother writing plays, isn't it?
It goes deeper, Tony. Your mother believes in spiritualism because it's fashionable. And your father raises orchids because he can afford to. My mother writes plays because 8 years ago a typewriter was delivered here by mistake.
So?
And look at Grandpa. 35 years ago, he just quit business one day. He started up to his office, to the elevator, and came right down again. He just stopped. So he could have made a lot of money, but he said it took up too much time. So for 35 years, he has collected snakes and gone to circuses and commencements. It never occurs to any of them that...
Hello, children.
Good evening, Mr. Vanderhoff.
Hi, Grandpa.
How's the weather? Looks like a nice summer evening.
Yes, it's lovely, Grandpa.
Well, I'm off. Goodbye, Mr. Kirby. I've got a date with the policeman on the corner.
Policeman?
We've got a standing date, 12:30 every night. I've known him since he was a little boy. Now, he's really a doctor, but after he graduated, he came to me and he said he didn't want to be a doctor, that he had always wanted to be a policeman. So I said, you go ahead and be a policeman if that's what you want to be, and that's what he did. Hey, how do you like my new hat?
It's very nice, Mr. Vanderhoff.
Yeah, I like it. The government gave it to me.
Oh! Excuse me. I didn't know you folks were in here.
It's all right, Donald.
Reba kind of fancied some candy, so Oh! There it is! You all don't want it, do you? No, Donald. Do you have nice dinner?
Yes, Donald. Yes, Donald. Yes, Donald! Now do you see what I mean? Could you explain Donald to your father? Could you explain Grandpa? You couldn't, Tony. You just couldn't. Can't you understand? I've got to get their approval. I'm not going to stand for your mother looking at me as if I were a thief. I love you, Tony, but I love them too, and it's no use, Tony. It's just no use.
There is only one thing you've said to me that matters, that makes any sense at all. You love me.
But Tony, I know so well.
Darling, don't you think other people have had the same problems? Everybody's got a family.
But not like mine.
You know, it seems like, in their own way, they found what everybody's looking for. People spend their whole lives building castles in the air and nothing ever comes of it. Do you wonder why that is? It takes courage. Everybody's afraid to live.
You ought to hear Grandpa on that subject. You know, he says most people nowadays are run by fear. Fear of what they eat, fear of what they drink, fear of their jobs, their future, their health. They're scared to save money and they're scared to spend it. You know what his pet aversion is? People who commercialize on fear, scare you to death to sell you something that you don't need.
Yeah, I agree with him.
So he kind of taught all of us not to be afraid of anything and to do what we want to do. Well, it's kind of fun anyway.
That's it. But that takes courage. What's my excuse? The Kirbys have been bankers for 9,000 years, and that line just can't be broken. That's been pounded in my head until I have a softening of the brain. That's my excuse.
But they can't change, Tony. I wouldn't want them to change.
They won't have to change. They're charming, lovable people just as they are. Everything will work out. You're worrying about something that may never come up.
Tony, am I?
All that matters is that we love each other. That's so, isn't it?
Yes.
Well then.
Tony!
Now, I'd like to see a little gaiety around here. I mean, young gentlemen calling and getting engaged and everything.
What do I say?
Well, first, you thank the young man for getting engaged to you.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby, for getting engaged to me.
And then you tell him what it was about him that first took your girlish heart. And don't say it was my brain. That's probably it, isn't it? The first thing you noticed about me? That you loved my colossal brain?
No, it was the back of your head.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. It wasn't your charm, and it wasn't your money. It was the back of your head. I just liked it.
Well, what happened when I turned around?
Oh, I got used to it after a while.
Well, now let's think of it. We're pretty lucky, aren't we?
I know I am. I'm the luckiest girl in the world.
I'm not exactly unlucky myself. Oh dear, I ought to, Good night, my love. Until tomorrow.
Good night.
Isn't it wonderful that we work in the same office? Otherwise, I'd be hanging around here all day.
Won't it be funny in the office tomorrow, seeing each other and going on as if nothing had happened?
Thank God I'm vice president. I could dictate to you all day. Dear Miss Sycamore, I love you. I love you. I love you.
Darling, you're such a fool.
You know, when I think about how lucky I am, I feel like screaming. I feel one coming on right now. In fact, if you know of a good housetop, I think I'd like to go do a little shouting.
Nice work.
That's what? 500 willow trees, 300 black panthers, and 8 dozen junior kitty bombers.
Pretty good, pretty good. Oh, hello there, Alice. You just get in.
No, I've been home quite a while.
You have a good evening.
Yes, I had a beautiful evening, Father.
Oh, say, I'd like to show you this new red fire. Mr. DePena, can you turn out the lights? I want Alice to get the full effect.
What, Father?
Take a look at this new red fire. It's beautiful. There. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes. Oh, Father, everything's beautiful. It's the most beautiful red fire in the world.
You can take your old job
I'm ready to read you the new play, Miss Wellington, anytime you are.
Just a minute, dearie, just a minute.
The thing is, and I hope you don't mind me asking, but you don't drink while you're acting, do you? I'm just asking, of course.
I'm glad you brought that up. Once a play opens, I never touch a drop. Minute I enter the stage door, bottle gets put away until intermission.
Have you been on the stage a long time, Miss Wellington?
Oh, all my life! I've played everything. You ever see Peg of My Heart?
Yes.
I saw it too. Good show. My hot night, ain't it?
You want me to open a window, Miss Wellington?
No, to hell with the weather. Say, she's cute.
She's just acting, Rita. That's all. She don't mean anything. Oh, well, anytime you're ready, Miss Wellington, we'll go up to my room and start. I thought we'd read the play in my room.
All right, dearie, I'm ready. When I see snakes, it is time to lie down.
Oh dear. Oh dear. But those are real, Miss Wellington. They're Grandpa's. They're real. Oh dear. I hope she's not going to. Miss Wellington?
She's out like a light.
You better let her sleep it off.
Reba! Miss Wellington just passed out. Good. Do you think she'll be all right?
Yes, but I wouldn't cast her in the religious play.
I suppose I'll just have to wait.
You know, Penny, next time you meet an actress on the top of a bus, I think I'd send her the play instead of bringing her home to read it.
Ed, I wish you'd stop renting and take those love dreams around. You've got to be back in time to play for me when Kalenkov comes.
Kalenkov coming tonight?
Yes, tomorrow night's his night, but I had to change it on account of Alice.
Right, big doings going on around here tomorrow night, huh?
Isn't it exciting? You know, I'm so nervous you'd think it was me who was engaged to Mr. Kirby.
Well, I wonder what they'll be like, his mother and father.
Look, Mr. DePinna, would you open the door and see if there's a man standing in front of the house?
Why? What for?
Well, for the last 2 days when I've been out delivering candy, I think a man's been following me.
Ed, you're crazy.
No, I'm not. He follows me, and he stands, and he watches the house.
Really? I'll take a look and see.
I don't see what anybody would follow you for, Ed.
Well, there's a lot of kidnapping going on, Grandpa.
Well, yes, but not of Ed.
Well, did you see anything?
There's nobody out there at all.
You're sure?
Positive. I just saw him walk away.
You see?
Oh, it could have been anybody walking along the street. Ed, will you hurry and get back?
Mr. Sycamore, do you want to go down and finish packing up the fireworks?
Oh yeah, we gotta bring the stuff up to Mount Vernon in the morning.
Mother, may I borrow some paper? I'm making out a list for Reba tomorrow.
Of course, dear.
Tomorrow.
What happened to your actress friend? Is she giving a performance?
No, she's not acting, Alice. She's just really drunk.
Essie, dear, you're going to give Reba the kitchen all day tomorrow, aren't you? Because she'll need it.
Of course, Alice. I'm going to start some love dreams now, so I'll be way ahead.
Thanks, dear. Look, Mother, I'm going to be home at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Will you have everything down in the cellar by that time? The typewriter and the snakes and the xylophone and the printing press.
And Miss Wellington.
And Miss Wellington.
Down spot.
That'll give me time to arrange the table and fix the flowers. Of course, dear.
The Kirbys are certainly going to get the wrong impression of this house.
And I think we should have cocktails ready by 7:15 in case they happen to come a little early. I wonder if I ought to let Reba cook the dinner. What do you think, Grandpa?
Now, Alice, I wouldn't worry about it. From what I've seen of the boy, I'm sure the Kirbys are very nice people. And if everything isn't so elaborate tomorrow night, well, that's all right, too.
Well, I'm not trying to impress them or pretend that we're anything that we aren't. I just want everything to go off well.
Well, no reason why it shouldn't,
We're
Alice.
all going to do everything we can to make it a nice party.
Oh, my darlings, I love you. You're the most wonderful family in the world, and I'm the happiest girl in the world. I never knew anybody could be this happy. This past week has just been like floating. He's so wonderful, Grandpa. Just seeing him, you don't know what it does to me.
Just seeing him for lunch and dinner and until 4 o'clock in the morning. And next morning you're back at the office again and there he is. Just seeing him, huh?
I don't care. I'm in love. Reba! Reba!
Oh, nice. Isn't it nice to see her so happy?
Yes, I remember when I was engaged to Paul how happy I was. And you know, I still feel that way.
I know. Nice the way Ed and Essie get along too, isn't it?
And Donald and Reba, even though they're not married. Do you suppose Mr. DePinna will ever marry anyone?
Well, there's Miss Wellington.
Oh, yeah, where for lunch?
I wish she would wake up and we're going to read the play tonight.
Mrs. Sycamore! Oh, Mrs. Sycamore, look what I found in the cellar!
Yes, it's my painting of you as the discus thrower. Look, Grandpa.
Yes, I remember it. Say, you've gotten a little bald, haven't you, Mr. DePinna?
Is it very noticeable? I've still got some right here.
Oh, it was a long time ago, just before I stopped painting. Let me see, that's 8 years.
I really wish it. Too bad you never finished it, Mrs. Sycamore.
Well, I always meant to finish it, but one day I just started to write a play, and that was that. I never painted again.
Yeah, just as well, too. I was gonna have to strip next.
My goodness, who would have thought that day I came to deliver the ice that I would end up staying here for 8 years?
Well, this milkman was here for 5, just ahead of you.
Say, why did he leave anyhow? I forget.
He didn't leave. He died.
He was such a nice man. Remember the funeral, Grandpa? We never knew his name, and it was kind of hard to get a certificate.
What was the name we finally made up for him?
Martin Vanderhoff, we gave him your name.
Oh, yes, I remember.
It was a wonderful thought, because otherwise you never would have gotten all those flowers.
Yes, certainly was. And it didn't hurt me any. Well, not bothered with mail anymore. And I haven't had a telephone call from that day to this.
Yes, it really was a wonderful idea.
I really wish you'd finish that sometime, Mrs. Sycamore. I'd kind of like to have it.
You know what, Mr. DePinna? I think I'll do some work on it right tonight.
Well, you will?
Yes, I don't suppose she's going to wake up anyhow. Look, Mr. DePinna, go in the cellar and get your costume and the easel. Is it still down there?
I think so.
Rubishka! My little Rubishka!
Sir, Mr. Kalenka.
Hello, Mr. Kolenkov. Essie's in the kitchen.
Oh, Madame Sycamore, I greet you. What is that? That is a picture of Mr. DePinna. Penny painted it. It stinks! I know. What do you think of that? Oh, what is that? She's an actress, a friend of Penny's.
All the world is stage.
Oh, she stinks! She is drunk, no? She is drunk, yes. How are you, Kalenka? Oh, magnificent! Life is chasing around inside of me like a squirrel. Oh, 'tis, huh? Say, what's new in Russia? Any more letters from your friend in Moscow?
Oh, I have just heard from him. I saved you this stamp.
Oh, thanks, Kalenka.
They have sent him to Siberia.
They have, eh? How's he like it?
He has escaped. He has escaped and gone back to Moscow. Oh, he will get them yet. If they do not get him, oh, the Russian government, I could take the whole Russian government and...
Sorry, I'm late, Mr. Kalenkov. I'll get into my dancing clothes right away.
Oh, tonight we will really work, my Pavlova. Tonight we will make something new.
Is he making any progress, Kalenka?
Confidentially, she stinks.
Well, as long as she's having fun.
You sure do tickle Reba, Mr. Kolenkov. She's laughing her head off out there.
Oh, she is a great woman. Hey, Donald, what do you think of the Russian government?
The what, Mr. Kolenkov?
I withdraw the question. What do you think of this government?
Oh, I like it fine. I'm on leave, you know.
Yes, and you like it?
Yes, sir. It's fine. But the only thing is you have to go round to the place every week to get paid. And sometimes you have to stand in line pretty near half an hour. Government ought to be run better than that, don't you think, Grandpa?
Government ought to stop sending me letters. They want me to be at the United States Marshal's office Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock. Look at that.
Oh, income tax. They have got you, Grandpa.
I'm supposed to give them a lot of money so as to support Donald on medical leave.
You don't say, Grandpa? Are you going to pay it from now on?
Oh, that's what they want.
So you mean that I can come right here and get paid instead of standing in that line?
No, Donald. I'm afraid you're still going to have to waste a full half hour of your time every week.
Well, I don't like it. It breaks up my week.
She should have been in Russia when the revolution came. Then she would have stood in line. A bread line! Russia. Think on it. The Grand Duchess Olga Katrina is waitress in child's restaurant. I ordered the baked beans from her yesterday. It broke my heart. Crazy world, Grandpa.
Oh, the world's not so crazy, Kalenkov. It's the people in it. Well, life's pretty simple if you just relax.
How can you just relax in the times like these?
If they just relax, there wouldn't be times like these. That's just my point. Life is kind of beautiful if you just let it come to you. The trouble is, people forget that. Well, I know I did. I was right in the thick of it. Fighting, scratching, clawing, regular jungle. Then one day it just kind of occurred to me, I wasn't having any fun.
So you did what?
Just relaxed. 35 years ago that was. I've been a happy man ever since.
Good evening, Mr. Kalenkov.
Oh, Miss Alice! I have not seen you to present my congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Kalenkov.
May you be very happy and have many children. That is my prayer to you.
That is quite a thought.
Love. Love is all that is left in the world, Grandpa.
Yes, but there is plenty of that.
Seems so nice to get back into my art things again. They look all right, don't they, Grandpa?
Yes, indeed.
You are breath of Paris, Madame Sycamore.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Kalenkov.
It happened again! There was a fellow following me every place I went.
Nonsense, Ed. It's just your imagination.
No, it happens every time I go out to deliver candy.
Well, maybe. You want some piece of candy.
It's all right for you to laugh, Grandpa, but he keeps following me.
Oh, you do not know what following is. In Russia, everybody is followed. I was followed right out of Russia. Oh.
See, Ed, it's all just imagination.
Mrs. Sycamore!
Oh, here we are.
Where would you like this? Right here?
Right there.
Excellent.
Ed, for tonight's lesson, we use first movement of Scheherazade. Okay.
Has something happened to your figure these past 8 years, Mr. Dupin?
I don't think so.
Yes? Yes, Miss Wellington?
But where are the Ides of March? I'm sorry, Mr. Kalenkov, I couldn't find my slippers.
Oh, we have hot nights for it, my Pavlova, but art is only achieved through perspiration.
That is wonderful, Mr. Kalenkov. Did you hear that, Grandpa? Art is only achieved through perspiration.
Oh, yes, but it helps if you have a little talent with it.
All right, now we begin. Pirouette. Oh, come, it is 8 years now. Oh, at last. Oh, Andres. Yes, prayer with the hands, prayer with the body. The whole body must be free. And the music must be free as well. Oh, yes, beautiful.